happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land. Here age relives fond memories of the past, and here youth may savor the challenge and promise of the future. Disneyland is dedicated to the ideals, the dreams, and the hard facts that have created America, with the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world.
One of the enduring qualities of Disney's theme parks is the wide array of admired characters spread throughout its magical lands. Whether they be animated or live action, heroes or villains, original creations or adapted works, there is never a shortage of unique personalities represented in the parks. No characters, however, are more colorful and cherished than the peculiar band of lovable misfits known as the Muppets. A classic troupe whose timeless brand of humor manifested in the form of a hilarious attraction known as Muppet Vision 3D. That said, it's time to get things started as we play the music and light the lights on this salute to all attractions, but mostly Muppet Vision 3D. Before we don our stylish 3D glasses and take a glorious 3-hour look at Muppet Vision, let's turn back the clock and explore how such iconic characters as the Muppets made their way through the gates of the Mouse House in the first place. On the evening of May 9th, 1955, American audiences tuned into their local WRC TV station to watch the first episode of a new puppet program called Sam and Friends. Created by 18-year-old puppeteer Jim Henson, the series was born from Jim's fascination with television and featured the debut of the Muppets, a collection of distinct puppet characters performed by Jim and his soon-to-be wife Jane in brief yet ludicrously crafted comedy sketches.
5. Hey, what are you doing? Well, I'm taking a course in visual thinking. It teaches you how to visualize your thoughts. Watch. Phew. See that? Man, you're just a beginner. I'm an old hand at this stuff. Watch. Hey, a real watch.
One such character, Kermit, made from the fabric of a turquoise green coat generously sacrificed by Jim's mother, and a split ping pong ball for eyes, was born, and would soon become one of the most recognizable characters in pop culture. The show would last until 1961, but the unique brand of humor and charm that originated from Henson's characters was just beginning to make its presence known. The popularity of such evergreen characters as Kermit the Frog and Ralph the Dog would soon grow as the Muppets appeared on hundreds of television ads, specials, and talk shows throughout the 1960s, including The Ed Sullivan Show and The Jimmy Dean Show.
Any last request, like for a cup of Wilkins coffee? No. You don't drink Wilkins? No. How shocking.
Joined by Jerry Jewell, Don Saleen, and Frank Oz, the Bohemian Odyssey of the Muppets culminated in their featured roles on a budding children's educational program titled Sesame Street.
What are we going to do for a title? Hey, Ralph? Why don't you call your show Sesame Street? What was that? Sesame Street. You know, like Open Sesame? It kind of gives the idea of a street where neat stuff happens. Kermit, why, you're a genius. Mwah! Yuck. Sesame Street. I love it. The kids will love it. I can see it. Up there in lights, the Children's Television Workshop presents Sesame Street.
Developed by Joan Gans Cooney and Lloyd Morrisett, written by John Stone, and produced by the Children's Television Workshop, Sesame Street aired its first episode in 1969, and became one of the most watched and longest running series in television history. In addition to Kermit, the show starred new characters such as Big Bird, Grover, Cookie Monster, Bert, Ernie, the Count, and Oscar the Grouch as the residents of this ubiquitous and quintessential American inner-city neighborhood. Widely acclaimed for its educational curriculum, public outreach, and a multicultural cast of characters, proponents of Sesame Street unanimously lauded the use of Jim Henson's Muppets as a pivotal component of the program's success. Henson and his company would continue the Muppets' presence in American media, redefining the art form of puppetry as entertainment for everybody. During the subsequent years, more talent joined this repertoire of creatives, including the likes of Jerry Nelson, Carol Spinney, Richard Hunt, Dave Goelz, Fran Brill, Kevin Clash, Louise Gold, and Steve Whitmire, amongst dozens of others. This assemblage of goodwill and creative talent reached its zenith with the debut of The Muppet Show in 1976.
It's time to play the music. It's time to light the light. It's time to meet the Muppets on The Muppet Show tonight.
It's time to put on makeup. It's time to dress up right. It's time to get things started.
An absolute phenomenon in the cultural zeitgeist, The Muppet Show ran for 5 explosive seasons, introducing to the world the wild antics of more than a few dozen characters of the Muppet Theater, such as Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear, Gonzo, Scooter, Dr. Bunsen Honeydew, Beaker, the Swedish Chef, Statler and Waldorf, Sam Eagle, and the groovy bandmates of the Electric Mayhem, alongside Rolf as the show's wistful pianist, and Kermit as the typically overwhelmed and frazzled showrunner.
Get things started on the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, motivational. This is what we call the Muppet Show.
By the time The Muppet Show ended its run in 1981, the Muppets had firmly embedded themselves into the worldwide consciousness, successfully proliferating across television and feature films, and attracting celebrity talent from all walks of life and every corner of the globe. The journey thus far had been a result of the unparalleled genius and determination of Jim Henson and his collaborators, who nurtured a culture of love, playful hard work, and genuine connection. This unique level of success and adoration quickly earned the attention of the Walt Disney Company, particularly that of Disney CEO Michael Eisner, who developed a strong desire to acquire Jim Henson Productions, thereby adding the world of the Muppets to Disney's roster of beloved characters and properties. In the late 1980s, Disney began such formal discussions with Henson. Jim, a self-proclaimed Disney fan, was eager to realize such plans, as he wanted to be able to focus more of his energy on creative endeavors rather than being the head of a company and running business decisions. During these preliminary talks, the one area of Disney that intrigued Jim's imagination the most was collaborating with Imagineering on the company's theme parks. So naturally, that's where the first major collaboration between the two groups sprang about. The Muppets made their Disney park debut in 1989 when the live stage show Here Come the Muppets opened at the Animation Courtyard Theater at the Disney MGM Studios in Walt Disney World. Other concepts that were floated around for the park included an entire Muppet Studios land with multiple attractions, including a Swedish Chef-themed restaurant and a Muppet parody of the Great Movie Ride. However, only one attraction developed for that concept would come to pass and take the notion of a theme park attraction to a whole new dimension. Quite literally. The attraction that came to be known as Muppet Vision 3D was set at the Muppet Labs, where Kermit the Frog invites guests on a tour to demonstrate their newest breakthrough in the 3D film process. Of course, as it is with the Muppets, chaos quickly unfolds. Filmed entirely at Stage 3 on the Walt Disney Studios lot in Burbank, California, the attraction combines a 3D film with in-theater special effects, including a live, full-bodied walk-around character and several audio-animatronic figures. In addition to directing, Henson also performed his signature characters alongside the cast of longtime Muppet performers Frank Oz, Dave Goelz, Richard Hunt, Steve Whitmire, Jerry Nelson, and one of Jim's own children, John, who performed the role of the friendly Muppet Sweetums. The attraction features Waldo C. Graphic, a character that originally appeared on the Jim Henson Hour, and one of the first ever digital Muppets created from a combination of motion capture puppetry and digital animation. A television special titled The Muppets at Walt Disney World was shot in April of 1990 and aired on May 6 to mark the forthcoming union between the Disney and Henson companies.
Hello, Mickey. Are you in there?
Kermit, is that you? Come on in. Gosh, it sure is swell to see all the Muppets here at Walt Disney World. You know what we say? When you wish upon a star, your dreams come true.
Well, actually, what we say is, someday you'll find it the Rainbow Connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me.
The long-awaited merger, though, would not come to light. On May 16, 1990, Jim Henson died at the age of 53. His sudden and tragic death shook those involved with the two companies and the entire world to their core. With Jim gone, negotiations eventually broke down between the two companies and remained that way for almost 14 years, until finally, in 2004, the Henson family sold the Muppets to Disney, ultimately fulfilling one of Jim Henson's lifelong goals. Although the companies themselves did not ultimately come together, the remaining team behind Muppet Vision 3D sought to complete Jim's final project, with Frank leading the charge and finishing the film per Jim's exact wishes. Frank rejected any money for finishing the project, and instead humorously suggested to Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg that he was low on socks. To which Michael and Jeffrey responded by gifting Frank a huge basket of Mickey Mouse socks. Exactly 1 year after Jim's death, the attraction opened as Jim Henson's Muppet Vision 3D at Disney MGM Studios on May 16, 1991. The attraction was constructed in a new area nestled within the New York facades of the Streets of America area, which opened to pedestrian traffic after previously being a part of the studio's backlot tour. A few years later, a second incarnation opened on the American West Coast in the Hollywood Pictures backlot section of Disney's California Adventure on February 8, 2001, and operated for 13 years until its closure in 2014. Today, Muppet Vision 3D is found within the Grand Avenue section of Disney's Hollywood Studios, surrounded by themed elements inspired by some of the Muppets. Inside, guests walk through the halls of the theater until they reach the prop room where the attraction's pre-show takes place, until the presentation itself begins. Entering the recreated Muppet Theater from The Muppet Show, guests are treated to a few opening heckles from Statler and Waldorf, who are watching the show in audio animatronic form from their traditional spot on the balcony. The show initially goes off without a hitch, with Kermit introducing the facility to the tourists, guests, elaborating that the rest of the Muppets have planned several sequences for the audience to enjoy in the experimental format. The show, however, begins to unravel as several unexpected circumstances come about, eventually resulting in the film ending in an explosive finale that leaves the theater in complete ruins. In true Muppet fashion, Kermit encourages the audience to return again in the future. It is without exaggeration to state that no other Disney attraction can hold a candle to the eccentric nature of Muppet Vision 3D. Combining the humor and charm established by the Muppets since their conception With the limitless imagination and innovation of Jim Henson and Walt Disney Imagineering, Muppet Vision 3D is a hysterically ageless experience that is destined to preserve the kind and beautiful legacy of one of the world's greatest visionaries for many years to come.
Statler?
Yeah, what?
Is that it?
Yes, it's over. How'd you like it?
I don't know. I slept through the whole thing.
Well, you didn't miss much.